Hey, Wicked Dick here, just doing a quick Gabe Vilardi injury update. We're titling this one, It Is Alive, with apologies to young Frankenstein. So it's August 30th, 2019. We're a couple weeks out from training camp, and we're heading into the Labor Day weekend, 3-day weekend. So if that's not great enough, we actually have, and you might want to sit down for this, some positive news regarding Gabe Vilardi. So the news comes from Lisa Dillman over at The Athletic. She hunted down Vilardi's agent, Andy Scott. And Andy Scott's an interesting guy because throughout the period where Vilardi has been injured, he really hasn't had much to say. And that's usually not a good sign because if the agent for a player has nothing to say, well, it means they're having a hard time spinning anything positive. And so it was kind of an unsaid element that made you concerned about Vilardi's ultimate injury and his ultimate recovery from it. However, this time, Scott had something to say. He said things are progressing with an injury, especially involving your back. It takes time to recover. He's working through that. He's doing a lot of mobility stuff. We think he's going to make a full recovery. Woohoo! So that's obviously positive news. Does this mean spondylolysis, which we talked about in a previous video? We don't know. We have no idea. I've seen a lot of people saying, why don't the doctors come out and say something? That's never going to happen. I don't know what world you're living in if you think that's a possibility. Why would Vilardi agree to that? Why would the doctors do it? The doctors can't even do it on their own. We have medical privacy laws. HIPAA people, HIPAA. And I can't understand why Vilardi would ever allow that to happen, because why tell the opposing teams what's wrong with you? I mean, you might as well just get a big old tattoo of a target right on that area. So if you're waiting for the doctors to come out and say, give a detailed explanation of the injury, yeah, you might want to hold off on that. So not to be the downer guy, but there are a couple of caveats, obviously, that go with this statement. One, it's the agent. And so obviously the agent's probably not going to come out and say, well, it was a good try, but his career's over, unless it's actually over. They're just going to spin it as positively as possible. Second, he says, we think he's going to make a full recovery. But they don't actually say when. Now, with this kind of a report, it's easy to think, cool, Gabe's going to be at training camp. We're going to see him this year. It wouldn't be so quick. As you probably know, the LA Kings are projected to be not good this year. Most projections have them fighting, if that's the word you can use, with the Senators to be the worst team in the league. And personally, I think they'll be a bit better. I think McClellan's probably worth 10 points just by having a structured system. And you have to think some of the vets are going to have some pride and come back and play better. Plus, in Kopitar's cycle of good year, bad year, this is supposed to be a good year. So put it all together, and I think that they'll be better, maybe 80 to 85 points. Probably not a playoff team, but at least competitive most nights, and that'll be nice to see, particularly after last season. I don't think I can take another year like last year. But so given that situation, you have to think they're going to be as conservative with Vilardi as possible. They don't really need him this year. It's not going to make that big of a difference. I think a successful outcome for him this year would be to play at some point, maybe in the latter half of the season, and make it through the end of the season, healthy. If he's still standing, at the end of the season, that would be great. As far as performance from him, I wouldn't count on much. The guy hasn't played in like 18 months now. I mean, not for extended periods. He had those rehab games. He's going to be sponsored by WD-40 because he's so rusty. So just getting through the season and playing a bit would probably be a great hope. And then hopefully he's ready for the 2020-2021 season. But nonetheless, positive news. So what does it mean for the Kings long term? Well, if Vilardi can come back and play, and he's good for 70 to 80 games a year, that would be tremendous. If you go back to 2012, 2014, the Cup winning years, one of the big keys to those wins was the Kings had the best center lineup in the NHL. You went Kopitar, Carter, Richards, and Stoll. Stoll, the fourth line center, was the best face-off man of them all. I mean, when's the last time you saw that? And when you have a dominant four-line center, 4 lines worth of centers, that covers up a lot of problems. You look at the Kings' last couple of years, and they've had probably the worst center lineup in the NHL. It's pretty much been Kopitar and a prayer. Now they got unlucky with Carter getting hurt. That's just bad luck, and what are you going to do? But the other centers, yikes. And so if in the future, they have a lineup in a year or two, where it's looking something like Kopitar, Turcotte, Vilardi, and maybe Jared Anderson-Dolan, who looks like a Stoll replica, or Akil Thomas. That would be very enticing. That would be an upper echelon NHL center lineup, assuming they all develop as we expect. And that would make a huge, huge difference in the prospects for the Kings. That would really lay the foundation for, coming back and being a credible playoff team with a chance to win a cup. That would be great. So hopefully that's the way it goes. But we'll see. So anyways, keep your fingers crossed. Hopefully at some point we'll see Vilardi come back. But for the first time in a very long time, at least we have some positive news, even if it's from the agent. Kings are having their franchise state of the franchise event tonight, where I'm sure Luc Robitaille and Rob Blake will probably not be saying much of anything, considering last year they told us this was a cup contending team, and we all know how that worked out. So I think they've probably learned to be very conservative in their predictions. But nonetheless, hopefully they'll say something positive about Vilardi. And if we see him back this year and playing a regular role, that would be outstanding. So anyways, enjoy the Labor Day weekend. Deke out.